Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're the show that jumps into the sources behind the headlines to give you, well, the full picture, the real insight. Today, we're diving into Wimbledon 2025, specifically that opening match for Carlos Alcaraz. Turned out to be way more dramatic than anyone expected. Our main source here is a great piece from BBC Sport, really detailing his first-round encounter. And our mission really is to unpack how a two-time defending champion, Alcaraz, finds himself in a real battle right from the start. What was going on there, the factors, the pressure, what it tells us about top-level tennis.
Yeah, and I think as we explore this, you'll really see the kind of mental and physical strain these athletes are under, especially when things don't go exactly to plan right from the off.
Okay, so let's set the scene then. Wimbledon 2025, kicked off June 30th, runs to July 13th, all England club, obviously. But this opening day, it actually made history. Hottest ever opening day. Temperatures got above 32 Celsius.
Wow, that's significant for London in early July.
Right. And into that heat steps Carlos Alcaraz, defending champion, 22 years old, seated second this year behind center, opens his defense on center court. But that heat, the BBC article, really flagged it. Now, Alcaraz is from Murcia, Spain, so he knows sun. But how much does heat really affect things on grass at Wimbledon? Is it just uncomfortable, or does it, fundamentally change things?
That's a good point. It's not just heat. It's Wimbledon heat on grass.
Yeah.
It's different. Even Alcaraz said, it was really difficult to deal with.
He mentioned it makes those long matches, long rallies much tougher. Players start to feel down a little bit because of the sun hitting all the time. It absolutely impacts energy levels, maybe even shot selection.
And for a champion, those early rounds, you want to conserve energy, don't you? Get through cleanly. But the source says Alcaraz had to tap into his physical and mental reserves straight away.
Yeah.
A 4.5-hour match.
Yeah, exactly. Not the ideal start when you're aiming for a deep run. That's a lot of energy expended right out of the gate. Okay, but here's where it gets really interesting. The opponent. Not some young gun, but Fabio Fognini, 38-year-old Italian veteran. And he'd already announced this was his last Wimbledon before retirement.
Right. And Fognini, you can't underestimate a former world number 9. The article highlights his fluid natural talent, his trademark variety. He showed all of that. He's got history, troubling top guys. Beat Rafa Nadal multiple times on clay, pushed Murray hard here before. His best slam was the French Open quarters back in 2011. So this wasn't just a farewell tour. This was a talented, experienced player capable of causing problems.
And he certainly did. The source describes his performance as, pretty masterful. He twice fought back to force the decider. His returning was smart. That variety befuddled Alcaraz. It was quite something to watch, apparently.
Absolutely. He really used all his craft.
The article also mentioned Fognini's colorful character, including that incident from 2019, the bomb comment about Wimbledon, which was... That caused quite a stir. So when you see that history alongside this kind of masterful, almost dignified performance in his final Wimbledon match, what does that contrast tell us about him? Or maybe about legacies?
That's a fascinating question. Fognini's always been emotional, hasn't he? It's driven him, sometimes maybe cost him. But here, it felt like he channeled everything into the tennis. Perhaps the occasion, knowing it was his last Wimbledon, focused him. We saw the brilliant shot-making, the talent, not the controversy. It felt like a really strong final statement of his skill.
Yeah, it definitely left a mark. But the drama wasn't just Fognini playing well. It was Alcaraz struggling, unexpectedly so. The source points out he struggled on first serve percentage under 50%. That's low for him.
Very low. That's a key part of his attacking game.
And uncharacteristic errors off the ground. He just lacked the freedom and fluency we associate with him. Lost his serve 5 times. You could see the frustration, too. Gesturing and chuntering towards his team. So, okay, we've got the heat. We've got Fognini's great play, but what about Alcaraz himself? Was something else going on? The article hints at maybe preparations.
Well, it does mention he tinkered with his opening shot this season, his serve. So that may have been a contributing factor, maybe a technical adjustment that wasn't quite clicking under pressure. But Alcaraz himself said, Wimbledon is different. I could feel the difference. And, playing the first match on center court is never easy. So it sounds like maybe a mix of things, a technical tweak perhaps, combined with the unique pressure of opening center court as the defending champion. It's a different beast.
Yeah, that makes sense. A perfect storm almost. And then there was that moment, quite dramatic, in the deciding set, a 15-minute pause because a spectator was ill, sitting in the sun.
Oh, right.
But Alcaraz, he actually went over with a bottle of cold water to help, which, amidst everything, speaks volumes about his character.
Absolutely. Great sportsmanship.
But just before that pause, right at the start of the 5th set, there was this other weird moment the source mentioned. Fognini apparently, playfully threatened to hit Alcaraz with the ball.
Uh-huh. Did he really? That sounds like Fognini.
Yeah. And the article says it actually seemed to make Alcaraz smile, helped him find more rhythm. How does something like that work psychologically in such a tense match? It seems so random.
It's funny, isn't it? But in that kind of pressure cooker, sometimes a completely unexpected moment, something absurdly lighthearted can just break the tension. For Alcaraz, who was clearly wound up, maybe that little interaction just snapped him out of focusing only on his struggles.
Hmm.
A reminder that it's still a game. It's quite insightful about both their personality.
A mental reset button,
That's right.
maybe?
Yeah.
Anyway, after all that, the Brahma, the pause, the near threat, Alcaraz did manage to regain control. He took the fifth set pretty comfortably in the end, 6-1. Final score, 7-5, 6-7, 7-5, 2-6. And that extended his Wimbledon winning streak to 19 matches.
Which is incredible. But what really stands out is his ability to, as the source says, dig deep, even when he wasn't playing his best tennis. That's the mark of a champion, isn't it?
Yeah.
And he knew it wasn't perfect. He admitted, I tried my best, but I can be better. I need to improve in the next round. That self-awareness, even after a win like that, very telling.
Definitely. And the ending was quite emotional. Alcaraz let out this huge roar in relief, then a really warm, friendly embrace with Fognini at the net. And Alcaraz immediately directed the crowd to applaud Fognini, who got a massive heartfelt ovation.
As he deserved. And then the shoes. Flinging his shoes into the crowd. Classic Fognini farewell.
Yeah, memorable send-off.
And Alcaraz's words about him afterwards were really quite touching. He said, I don't know why this is his last Wimbledon, because with the level he is playing, he can play for another 3 or 4 years. He called him a great player, praised his level and talent, said he was sad it's probably his last Wimbledon, but happy to have shared the court with him. That's real respect between competitors after a tough battle. Really classy. So looking ahead for Alcaraz then, he survived. Next up is Oliver Tarvett, the 21-year-old British qualifier.
Right, who had a great win himself on his Wimbledon debut. So another potential challenge, though maybe different in style.
So wrapping this deep dive up, this match, Alcaraz versus Fognini, it really showed that even the very best, the defending champions, they aren't immune to struggles.
Yes.
Whether it's a veteran opponent playing out of his skin or the conditions or just an off day, it was a massive test of, well, everything. Skill, grit, adaptability.
Exactly. I think the takeaways are pretty clear. The impact of extreme conditions, definitely. The danger that experienced craftiness still poses. And the character needed to navigate those high-pressure moments from both players.
It leaves you thinking, doesn't it? What really defines a champion? Is it just about winning easily, looking untouchable? Or is it more about finding a way to win even when you're not at your best, when everything seems to be going wrong? Something to ponder.